RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Investor where I'm in some kind of weird background. Look at that green screen. Look at that weird. I'm in some kind of parallel universe. We are where everything is super late, 20 minutes late. Chris and I were actually trying to find a cool background that we thought would be great for the opening. But obviously my camera keeps fluctuating, causing the background to change. I'm gonna have to fix this camera setting so it doesn't fluctuate like this. You can see it's like keeps going back and forth. Anyway, hello. Hopefully you guys had a great week. Lots to talk about today as always. My skin is changing colors. I think I'm gonna get rid of this background. I don't know what's going on. I'm going orange, pink, purple. Who knows what color I'm gonna change to next. But I have a lot I'm going to talk about today. We're going to go through what the hell is going on with the S&P. Isn't going to break down finally what happened with unemployment, the unemployment report recently, CPI, what's going on with Bitcoin. Are we going to finally get that pullback? Like, are we just going to sit in this range forever? There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. So we're going to go through all of that today in the public show. And then, of course, as always, in the private show, I will answer any and all questions you have about any coins or stocks that you guys want to talk about. So the first thing I'm going to do is shrink myself as usual. Okay. In the bottom corner here. Hello. And then we're going to get rid of this silly background here. Just get rid of that. And we're going to get into what happened. So the one thing, unemployment claims came out, right? Higher than expected. What is something that I've talked about many times. When unemployment claims start to spike, that's when you see the market roll over. Have we seen that spike yet? No, not necessarily. This is a little bump in the road. I wouldn't say this is like a massive spike, but we can see that this is probably right here. Let's see, actual. So this is the first one in a while where it's above the forecast. Previously they were all around the same. Now we've got this one bump, and as long as it's kind of an outlier, there's nothing to like freak out about. But if we start seeing red multiple times in a row, that's when you really should be worried, and that's when it could look like the market might roll over. Hello Sammy, hello Nora, hello Alexa. Sorry guys, man, about being late. We were trying to sort some camera stuff out. It's always the camera that's a problem, always. But I think it makes a big difference. Helps you guys enjoy the show more. You can see my facial expression, absurdity. Okay, so that's really the only thing about unemployment. Nothing else I want to touch on here. Tomorrow, do we have anything coming out? Employment change. No. Oops. This is. Oh my God. I'm looking at last week's data. What the hell? Why didn't you guys tell me? What is going on with this image? Why can't I? Normally there's a calendar up here. Let me fix this. Oh, okay, so today, damn, I can't believe this. How did I? All right, here's the correct numbers. Unemployment claims 211. So just normal, below expectations. So not a big deal. PPI did come under the expectation. We're at only 0.2. Core came in line. And natural gas storage way up. Wow, that's interesting. Forecast 14 billion, or at 24. Really crazy. Friday, preliminary consumer sentiment. We'll see what happens there. That's important to see how consumers are feeling about the market. Previous reports. What did previous reports look like? Previous reports have come in below, and they've also come in above. So mixed bag. We'll see what's going to happen. I mean, if we're going to tomorrow, what are the options telling us? That's kind of what matters even more than the report. I feel like I always talk about the news comes out to justify the market movements or to make an excuse for the market to move, to hunt those liquidity zones. And I still believe that. Right now, the market wants to stay below 5,200 and stay above 5,100 for max pain. So 5,150. And where are we? 51.70. All right. So max pain is right here, right around 51.50. Yes, Omar, for sure. I will look at Tupperware in the after party. We can definitely talk about that. The S&P honestly looks like it wants to double bottom here. Very real possibility. You can see how we could have got a stab down here, and we went right below the previous. We went right below the previous low here, but RSI did not. So we've got a bit of a divergence coming in here. And this would be the perfect area. If the market was going to bounce rather than roll over, this would be the area. This would be where you want to long. So something to watch out for. If you're in shorts, consider, taking a little bit of profit, because the market is in a uptrend. We're kind of in this up only mode. We're starting to finally have a bit of a breakdown, but it doesn't happen right away, and it's a process. So if you're in some shorts and they're in some profit, consider taking a little bit of profits and hunting some long opportunities, because this is the area where we usually reverse. This is where you want to look for reversals. So, that's the S&P. I don't really know. There's nothing else really to say about this other than this was your pullback. We might close down here going into Friday just because of those options. And by next week, I expect us to probably be bouncing up higher again. That's it. That's the pullback. I don't really see. Let me get rid of this, by the way. We don't need this. I don't see this rolling over just yet. I just don't see it. The weekly did break down, but it's still in this extreme overbought zone, which to me is a bull signal. The monthly still looks bullish. I don't really see any breakdowns here yet. If we look at our original chaos takeoff area, right like that, we did actually hit. So this is something interesting. We did hit. This would be, if I did a conservative chaos level, kind of like this. We kind of came in and hit that. You can see how the 2.618 was rejected here. 1.618 area is a bit wonky, which makes me question this. But if this is the correct W, then we already hit that 4.669 area. Although it's possible that this is actually the middle of the W, and we should be somewhere like this. And then the target is up here at 5,400, 5,500, which I've shown in the past. So that could be the final target, a little bit higher. We have to go a little bit higher, and we're just having a bit of a pullback. Anyway, for me, it's up only until I see a massive breakdown and divergence and movement below my trend heuristic channel here. As long as we're above this 50 EMA or above this trend heuristic channel, I can't get too bearish yet. Just can't. I want to, but I just can't. And maybe that's a sign that the top, we're getting close to the top, because I'm not wanting to be bearish, but I should be, right? So that's kind of what happens. That's what the market does to you. You're like, okay, now I don't want to go long anymore, or now I want to go long, but meanwhile the market's already traveled this far, and now you're thinking like emotionally, oh, this is the pullback, this is the time to go long, but actually it's still just the time to exit your longs, and the market's really going to roll over. So some things to consider, but my main viewpoint is that we're going to bounce from this area going into next week, and this is kind of a pullback profit taking area if you were in shorts, and a time to reconsider longs, just based on divergences that I'm seeing in this uptrend and major support in this trend heuristic channel that I use, which acts as a decent bounce indicator. One thing I did notice that can make the bear case, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, is the US dollar. I talked about this extensively and how this broke out of this downtrending wedge here, this downtrending, just a downtrend line, and it held the downtrend line, and then it just launched off of it higher, and it's looking quite bullish right now. So if the dollar takes off and pushes higher up to this 107 zone, the market should pull back a little bit more, and metals especially too, right? We talked about gold before. This is something I drew back in April. We obviously blasted through that uptrend line, didn't get a pullback at all. I'm going to go to a daily chart, by the way. Get rid of some of these lines for you guys, clean it up. We did hit a 9 there. Yeah, this is showing in a log. Still surprised that it blasted through this log scale. So that's, we'll talk about gold and silver in a bit, but I wanted to talk about DXY and how it's basically launched out of this downtrend, and we're on the other side, and we could target, if we use chaos, right, and say this is our W, this big zone here, that's your W, and this is basically, here's your original first rejection, and now here's your confirmation on the other side. Keep in mind this is a daily chart. So we got our confirmation. Now the question is, where does chaos say we're going? And if we're more conservative, right, like that, like this, it points to 113, right at these previous highs. So the dollar could head to 113, which could cause a significant impact on other dollar valued assets and a pretty decent sized pullback. That's what I'm seeing on the dollar. So 113 target area. That's a decent, how much percent increase? It's a 7% increase, which for me is nice, because in Thailand, I think we'll see more than a 7% change. And you can see right here, 7% is at 39, but I expect this to go to like 40, tag 40. So a 10% discount for me in Thailand. That would be nice. Very real possibility. So there's that. It also looks like it's trying and struggling and trying to break out on the other side of this downtrend line itself. And if that does happen, then we should shoot right up to that 40 area. You can see here, if I take these previous, let's take the entire range, right, all the way to the lows. And you can see we haven't even retraced 38.2, and 50% is right up here at 42. So if we retrace even to 50% of the whole range, we're at 42, which would make things significantly cheaper here. You see in 1997, 1998, the insane change and spike. So that's what I'm looking at for Thailand. I don't think it matters probably to most people. I just thought I would touch on it. Okay, so touched on US dollar. Let's talk about gold. So gold hit a 9 on the daily chart, which causes this pause that we're seeing. But as of right now, it just looks like up only still. I need to see a breakdown with RSI before I can get bearish at all. Until then, it's just, continuing higher. I don't see any reason for a pullback. We're basically almost at my zone, my selling zone, which was 22,400 or higher. We're so close, and it only took how fast did this happen? From March 1st to now. It's not even 40 days. Boom, gold took off. And that's it. And you didn't really have much of a chance or many pullbacks to get in. Your only chance was back in October. Everything's pretty much been up only since October, and you haven't had any serious significant pullbacks. You had one pullback February 16th to retrace this range before it just bounced and then never looked back. And if this is the range, what did chaos say? Like if that's the bottom end of the range, wow, look at this. That's pretty crazy. So if you took a chaos level from the top end right here and the bottom end of the range right here, chaos basically points to right where we stopped, 2,340. Pretty cool to see that. 2.618 did cause a pause, but no pullback. It's amazing how little of a pullback there was in this run. It's just, you didn't get any chance to really get in. And I don't see anything yet. I could see this moving higher. Almost no opportunity to get in. Let me see, like on a 1 hour chart. Yeah, on the 1 hour, it's just oscillating still. You could try to get in at the bottom end of this range and then target a move higher. Maybe this is your range, and then your move is up to 2,400. something you could look for. But I think the majority of the move is over at this point, at least from a gold perspective. Just from, from back in basically January, October. How far are we up since then? From October low, you're up 30%, and from basically mid-February, you're up about 20%. Compared to Bitcoin, it's so low, but if you traded on leverage, you would have made a significant amount of money on this. I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm also you can see how it took off after it broke out of this trend line. You didn't even get any kind of retrace. I was looking for a retrace myself, and you got nothing. We are hitting an 8 on the weekly, so you need to be careful with that. 8 and 9's coming in. Usually you'll get some kind of pause and then a pullback. So there's that as well, and we're getting a pause because of that 9, but I could see it again, as I said, continuing higher up to my sell zone, which is right up here. You can see I previously had these other zones where that price played in for a long time. Now we're finally in price discovery mode. Huge breakout from this area here this kind of zone we were stuck in for 4 years, and now we've got a breakout. And if this is your total zone, like if this is your high and we say conservatively that this is your low, then we're only hitting the 1.618 level now, and gold's actually going to 3,500, and your 2.618 is here. So something also to keep in mind, that this is where you could go, 3,500. And who knows, if there's going to be a pullback, this would be the area where you're going to get a bit of a pullback. I'm curious what this would look like divided by M2. Like that. Did we surpass the old highs? We're coming into the old highs right here, but we haven't surpassed them if we divide it by the money supply. So we're at the same high level as 2020. We were really low. The highest, go back, the highest level is up here, where we match levels from 2010, 2011, and what is that level? 2011 level. So let's see, this was in October 2011. Okay, October 2011. So that was here, 1,700. Well, that's incredible how much further we have to move because of the money supply increase to match the gold equivalent level. But I think that's something to keep an eye on. I think it makes sense that we're pausing in this area based on that previous money supply chart. We're at that old high from just a couple of years ago. And the next high is back from what the money supply was compared to gold in 2011. Something to keep in mind. All right, the next one is silver, which came right into my target. And we're stuck here. So on weekly, we've got a 9. And at daily, we have a 9. So if you're a silver bug and you expect things to break out and take off massively and head up to my $35 target, you would like to see some kind of pullback down into this $26, $25 zone to get long, and then target 35. Because if you can even just get a little bit of a pullback down here, say your stop down below, and if you could target up here, you can make 3-to-1 risk reward. Not a bad trade, especially if you use a little bit of leverage. I would like to use a tighter stop to get a bit more of a risk reward. 7-to-1 or something is nice. So that's what I would look at. I would hunt for these pullbacks and then see if I can ride this higher, since this is like a borderline a massive breakout. But keep in mind that silver has not broken out yet. It's just hitting the highs. It's not like gold. Gold broke out to new highs, but silver is still kind of sitting in this range. It did break out of this downtrend, which explains the massive spike the last 2 weeks, but it's not over the hump yet. I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, save that. Okay, 20 minutes in. We're going to do another 10 minutes. I think we'll look at crypto and then call it a day for the public show. And we will go to the private show and I will talk about everything you guys want to talk about in the private show. I think that's where the real fun is, when we talk about all the things that you guys like to talk about. Bitcoin on a weekly chart. So you guys can see why Bitcoin, I mean, I kind of told you Bitcoin was going to be stagnant in this area because it's hitting a 9 on the weekly. And every time it's hit a 9, it's been stagnant for normally 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Another time it was 9, 3 weeks. This time 3 to 4 weeks is kind of how long it sits there. So expect another 2, either a pullback or 2 more weeks of kind of stagnation. And you know, that's what you can expect. This range, just trade the range. It's not that hard. Just kind of look at where the liquidations are. I'll show you guys actually this fun channel where if you want to trade on a lower time frame, this is what you can use. Coin Analyze. This one is really great because it shows the liquidations. And it's a great way to kind of see where price is going to reverse on the lower time frames. So if you can do it for a lot of coins, but I usually just look at it for Bitcoin since it's the biggest market. This is open interest. Where is liquidations? Liquidations. They also have funding rate. You can look at the funding rate, but I find that for lower time frame and for entries, liquidations on like a 15-minute are the kind of the best to look at. So you can see how this massive spike in liquidation, this was kind of the top. Here too, big liquidation. Like sometimes it's just a short-term top and then it'll continue higher until you get like a really big one. So normally you want to look for something like over 10 million. That seems to be like the big value that kind of stops it. So you see here you had like a 10 million and a bit higher. Usually you want to almost look for it like a divergence where price continues higher, the liquidations slowly creep down. And as that happens, that's normally when price kind of reverses. It's just like any other indicator where it doesn't have a 100% success rate, but it is very useful to try to time reversals, especially on these lower time frames. Like if you look at this 5-minute and look at this big massive liquidation here, that was the one that they were going after. They took that out and then they could kick it head lower. And now they're liquidating short. Are people that are long on the other side. These red ones are long liquidations. The green ones are short liquidations. And so this is just a way like to help you trade Bitcoin if you're interested, especially in this range. The other thing that I think is very useful is if you go to something like a 4-hour chart, and as long as price is in a range, you can, and I've shown this a couple times before, but I'll show it again. You can trade. Let me flip this. You can trade like the fib levels. So you look at the previous range right here from, this was the low and this was the high. And then you look for entries here at 61.8 and 78.6 and 88.6. And you set your stop below the low. So you could have done 1, 2, 3. You would have gotten like one entry only on this one. If you were a little bit more aggressive with your 78.6, you could have maybe gotten 2. And then once that completes and you start to see that reversal happening, you just do the same thing on the other side. But in this case, it didn't work that well, right? Because they took out the high, so you would have been liquidated. You would have been taken out. But if you entered here, it wouldn't hurt you too bad. So there's that, and then you get the reversal, and you do it again. And you look, okay, this is the low. This is the high. Okay, my buys are down here. So this one, this tag 61.8, you would have gotten into a long. And then you could flip over. And you could say, okay, where do I exit my long and where's my short? So you would have exited at the 61.8, entered your first short and set your other 2 shorts here. And you'd already be in profit. You see how well those flips work? You can even let this squeeze more and take it more seriously. You can say, okay, I'm short now from here. And where is my take profit? So then your first take profit is right here. And then your next one you could do here and here. Or you could just take it all here, depending on how the market looks. So that's a little range trading strategy that you can use while we're sitting in this range, which could go on for another 2 to 3 weeks. I think it's interesting that Arthur Hayes came out with an article about Bitcoin the other day, basically saying he also thinks we're going to get a pullback in a range for this month. Now, he didn't mention Tom DeMark or anything like that, but it confirms what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking here. So right now, just ranging, trade the range. I can't say what's going to happen for sure, but to me, it looks like we're going to get a range. Maybe we'll get a big pullback to liquidate everyone, something like this. We just play here, and then eventually we get some quick dump, and then the reversal to head higher. That is assuming that the stock market does not break down. I think that a big part of Bitcoin continuing to run higher requires that the stock market does not break down and go into any sort of bear. I think as long as that's the case, Bitcoin will continue its bull run, but they do need to go after the stops down here. They're going to stop out everyone down here at 59,318, or they'll be happy at 60,000. Whenever you see that, just look at this coin analyze liquidation thing and see what the liquidations are. If we get to 62, 61, see if we get a lot of liquidations. If we're getting 20 million, 30 million dollars in liquidations, maybe that's it. And that's when you can, that can help you time your entry. You can also look at higher time frame liquidations, right? So this was a massive one on the long side right here, right at 60, a pullback from 71 to 65. That was a huge one. And then you can see how we continued to have more liquidations, just baby ones. And you got your divergence, and then price reversed, right? And then you got your liquidations on the other side, and then price reversed. And then you got liquidations down here, and then price moved higher until you got liquidations here, pause, some more liquidations, and then the final big liquidation right here at about 15 million. And then you got your pullback, and you started liquidating on the other side. See how it kind of oscillates. It's not perfect, as I said, but it is a nice metric to have and keep an eye on. We'll look at this one, 60 million liquidation. See how they went for that with that spike? You can't really, it's hard to see, but you can see how somebody got massively liquidated right here when they spiked the market down to take out this entire range. I'm surprised they didn't go below here. I'm guessing the liquidation was just there, so they didn't need to go below that. But if you were watching it, you would see that and kind of know, okay, well, that was the huge liquidation. Anything above 30 million is decent for starting to watch for that reversal. Like, okay, that's the beginning, and then you kind of see what's going on. Use your other indicators to see if there's going to be a bit more of a continuation, or if that's it. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. With Bitcoin, I just see this ranging, and personally, I'm just trading the range and just taking profits with fib flipping. That's all. It works really well. So that's what I'm doing there. All coins are getting destroyed. Fjord's Rune absolutely wrecked here. If we look at something like total 3, I mean, this one concerns me, right? This looks bad. But again, I'm thinking you get your spike down and then you reverse higher. If we don't get that reversal, you could head all the way down to here, which is a significant move. So all the way down here is 30% pullback. Not pretty. Not pretty at all. I would be very surprised, Jonathan, if we get that wick to 48K. That would be shocking. Maybe 60K, but 48, I don't understand the significance of, I guess it's the top of this range. I'm just curious, like, is there really a lot of liquidity there that they could grab? I mean, if they go to 48K, might as well go to 38K and go below this low right here at 38K. Might as well just take everything out. Let's look at the price range. what would be a 30% pullback? So 30% would be 48K. But I think that if they're going to go that far, it's probably going to be like 49, 48. I'll be surprised by. I think more like 50, 49 to 50 if we get there. But realistically, I'm only looking at like 58K. They just take out, see here, just a 16% pullback, and then it's back to up only. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I think that's a bit wishful thinking to go that low. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it from everything I'm seeing, and they don't want to give people an opportunity to get in, and that 48K pullback might give too much of an opportunity. So, you know, it makes sense to just go after this liquidity here and then take off. But you know, it's possible that they might go after the liquidity down here in this range. We all know it's just a liquidity hunting game to kind of get fuel for that next move higher. But as of right now, I'm just trading the range and waiting for that kind of pullback to then hop in on the long side. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys and it explains my thoughts. I'm gonna stop it here and take a little bit of a break, and then we'll get to the after party where I will fix my camera first and then talk about any crypto or stock names that you guys want to talk about. I think there's a lot I want to talk about. I want to look at the tech names. So we're going to talk about Tesla, Nvidia, a couple of those names. I think I want to take a quick look at Boeing. I want to look at natural gas. And we'll talk about a couple of crypto names that I'm sure you guys want to look at. And yeah, that's about it. All right. Going to call it for the public stream, and I will see you guys in the after party. All right. Bye.